Claire puts a twisted plan into motion, and Nick and Chance uncover new evidence. At Sharon's place, Chance tells Nick that they've tracked the car Sharon's abductor was driving via surveillance videos all over town. At one point it pulled into the Riverbank Motel. "We're getting close." Nick says that's the proof they need, that's where Ian is staying. Whoever took Sharon is obviously working with him. Chance wants to hear more. Nick says when he confronted Ian he dodged and made sure not to tell him much of anything. Chance tells Nick if they need to solve this, they need hardcore proof to link Sharon's disappearance back to Ian. Nick says the car being at the motel is evidence. Chance says they need more. He's sending a team over there. Nick argues they don't have time for that. He wants to corner Ian and make him talk. Nick chants YNR. Nick grabs his keys and Chance warns him to slow down. He shouldn't give Ian a reason to charge him with assault. Nick thinks Chance should come along with him in an official capacity. The car going to the motel is damning enough evidence to warrant a visit. Chance thinks it's a long shot and risky. Nick begs him to work with him on this. The longer they wait for solid evidence, the more trouble Sharon is in. "We have to do something." Chance guesses it's worth a shot, so they head out. Nick chants YNR. In her motel room, Jordan holds a drink and rants about being abandoned by Ian Ward. The bastard. She says she didn't need anything from him, not his lousy advice or his lousy kisses. "I can do this on my own. I can carry this out by myself, without you." Jordan YNR. Setting her drink down, Jordan looks in the mirror and affirms, "I can. Because I'm me. And I'm going to do what I should have done all along." With that, she picks up her phone. Jordan YNR. At the ranch, Victoria thinks they should all get some rest, although she won't be able to sleep very well. Nikki agrees. They need to get rid of Jordan for good, but this. Claire reiterates that Jordan has to die. She'll never give up and wants all of them dead. They've gone over this and they agreed that it has to be done. Victoria worries about Claire becoming her next victim. Claire assures that she'll use her tactics and turn them back on her. She tells her grandmother and mother to go get some rest. When this is over, all they'll feel is relief. Victoria says, "That's not all we'll feel." Claire reminds them that they have been sworn to secrecy. Victoria reminds Claire not to go off on her own. Claire's phone rings, it's Jordan. They debate until Claire answers. "Aunt Jordan. I didn't expect to hear from you so soon. It's much sooner than I expected." Jordan tells Claire their encounter has her reeling and full of emotion. Claire says she's felt the same way. When she hugged her, it felt like it always should have been. Claire wonders if she can trust her aunt, she's the only one who can help her pull off her plan. She hopes she'll be impressed. "When can we meet?" Jordan agrees that they should meet face to face, but she worries she's trying to lure her into a trap. Claire offers to let her lay the ground rules. Jordan tells Claire she wouldn't be alone. Claire asks who she'd be with. Jordan says it's the person who helped her with an escape plan and doesn't mind getting their hands dirty. She has confidence in the person. "And if you were lying, it could be very bad for someone you know." Claire asks what she means and who is her friend. Jordan says they should meet. Claire assures her this is legit. She refers to what the Newmans deserve and never dreamed Jordan would be free to help her. Jordan orders her to Crimson Lights and tells her to wait for instructions. Claire hangs up and tells Nikki and Victoria she's buying this. She's desperate to think she can control her. Victoria thinks this is happening too fast, but Claire has it all figured out. "This is what I need you and Grandma to do. Once alone, Victoria worries to Nikki that they could be there for hours, not even knowing if Claire is safe. How can they go through with this plan? They don't want Claire to have blood on her hands. It would break her and break them if they let it happen. Nikki prays she won't be able to go through with it, but Jordan has to be captured. Getting her back behind bars is crucial. Victoria doesn't think they need to kill her. Nikki agrees, we're not going to let her take us down with her. Victoria talks to her mother about how it felt to hear Claire plotting a murder. It sent chills down my spine. Nikki says she was trained to be that way. Victoria wonders how much she's been through, she deserved a better life. Nikki says they can't change the past. Victoria worries if things go down as Claire wants them to, what will the long-term effect be for her? Nikki thinks Claire wants to save lives, and they don't seem to have another choice. They have to get close enough to Jordan to apprehend her, and Claire will make that happen. They'll take it moment to moment. When push comes to shove, Claire may not be able to go through with it. Victor walks in and asks what's going on. He senses they're hiding something from him and asks, "Where's Claire?" At Crimson Lights, Claire sits on the patio and waits. She flashes to telling her aunt that she uses and twists people around. She takes everything good and leaves them nothing. She remembers confronting her about stealing her from her family, and Jordan saying she saved her and made her who she is. Claire recalls calling her aunt a monster and telling her that was the last time they would see each other. In the present, Claire says, "No more, Aunt Jordan." She wonders what she's up to. Just then, she gets a text, "Proceed to where we met earlier. No tricks." Claire replies that she's on her way and heads out. At the motel, Nick pounds on Ian's door and hollers as Chance looks on. In the park, Claire holds 2 hot drinks and waits. Sitting on the bench, she finally sees Jordan approaching in her blonde wig disguise. She points out she's alone as promised and asks if her aunt is okay. Jordan's just reeling from seeing her again. Claire had no idea what it would mean to be this close to her, that suddenly everything would make sense. Jordan wants to believe her. Claire hands her an oolong tea fixed as she likes it and reminds her how well they know each other. She recalls them staying up all night over tea plotting revenge against the Newmans. Jordan takes the drink Claire wasn't offering, and the young woman realizes she still doesn't trust her. Claire tells Jordan she wouldn't slip her something. They go over how much Jordan taught Claire about chemicals and how to use them. Claire says she'd never use it against her. Jordan recalls that Claire didn't rescue her when she drank the poison. Claire says she thought she wanted to die. Who was she to stand in her way? But we did save you in the end. She tells her aunt that they have another chance now. This isn't my world, it's not my life. That was always with you. She doesn't think the Newmans have completely accepted her. She could see it from the beginning and hoped it would change, but it hasn't. I'm an outsider with them. Jordan asks, "Do you think they don't trust you?" Claire says they shouldn't. She's been playing them from the beginning. I'm playing the long con against the Newmans, just like you taught me. Jordan asks about her plan and how she fits in. Claire says the Newmans have accepted her in the public eye. She's legally a Newman now with all that entails. Including an impressive inheritance should my mother, Victoria Newman, meet with an unexpected, unfortunate turn of fate. Jordan Claire YNR. At the ranch, Nikki and Victoria ask Victor about Ian and if there is news on Sharon. Victor says Nick is working with the police. If anyone can find her, it's Nick. At the motel, Chance and Nick enter the room where Ian had been staying and call out his name. He's not there, so they search the room. Chance picks up Jordan's empty glass and says Ian doesn't wear this shade of lipstick, his accomplice is a woman. Chance calls the front desk and learns that Ian hasn't checked out, but there's none of his things there. Nick said it looked like he was staying there when he visited the last time. Maybe he's skipped out on his bill and is with Sharon right now. Chance says they'll run the fingerprints on the glass and will hopefully get a hit in the database. At the ranch, Nikki thinks Sharon's children must be out of their minds with worry. Victoria agrees. Victor reports that Ian may have an accomplice and tells them about Sharon's kidnapper on the footage. He thought the person was somehow familiar. Nikki asks if it was a man or a woman. Victor says you couldn't tell, but why do you ask? In the park, Jordan brings up all the vicious things Claire screamed at her in prison. Now, all of the sudden, she's telling her she wants the demise of her dear mother, Victoria. Claire says she was kind and patient in the beginning, but it has become painfully clear that she just wants a daughter like her, raised as a Newman from birth. When she looks at her, all she sees is Jordan. Her aunt points out she moved in with them. Claire had to in order to convince them she wanted to be accepted. She hopes Jordan can understand and will help her fix all of this. If her plan is successful, they'll have everything they always deserved. Justice and retribution. The Newmans will have to grieve their pride and joy, Victoria, just as Jordan grieved her sister Eve. They'll have enough money to go anywhere after. Claire tells Jordan that Victoria could never be her mother like she was. I miss you so much, Aunt Jordan. I need you back in my life. Jordan Claire YNR. At the motel, Nick rants at Chance that Ian could have Sharon stashed somewhere on the property. Chance says he'll get a warrant, but Nick doesn't have time for that. I'm looking for Sharon. With that, he heads out the door. At the ranch, Nikki thinks Ian could manipulate a woman into doing his bidding just as easily as a man. Victor says they're checking cameras all over town, so they should have an answer soon. He hugs them both and heads off to bed. When he gets to the first landing, he pauses and listens. At the motel, Chance is on the phone calling for a search warrant when Jordan arrives behind him. She takes off again. Jordan Chance YNR. Claire arrives at the ranch and tells Nikki and Victoria she did what she had to do and she thinks Jordan bought it. Victoria asks her, how did you convince her? Claire says, I told her I was ready to kill you. Claire puts a twisted plan into motion, and Nick and Chance uncover new evidence. The rain hammered against the windows of the dimly lit room, casting distorted shadows across the walls. Claire's fingers danced over the keyboard, her face illuminated by the cold glow of the screen. Her expression was a blend of determination and something far darker. The plan she had conceived was meticulous, a web of deceit and manipulation designed to ensure her victory at any cost. She had spent weeks preparing, every detail carefully calculated to leave no trace back to her. Tonight, the first piece of her twisted puzzle would fall into place. Claire had always been clever, but her intelligence had taken a sharp turn toward cunning after a betrayal she could neither forgive nor forget. The betrayal came from someone she had once trusted with her heart. That person had shattered her illusions, and now she was ready to return the favor, only this time, it wouldn't just be about heartbreak. It would be about justice, retribution, and a game only she could win. Claire wasn't just seeking to win, she was looking to destroy. Meanwhile, across town, Detective Nick Harrison sat in the precinct's musty break room, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee. His partner, Detective Chance Miller, leaned against the counter, flipping through a stack of crime scene photos. Both men had spent the past month knee-deep in a case that refused to crack. A string of seemingly unrelated events, a warehouse fire, a corporate scandal, and a missing persons report, had begun to weave together into a tapestry of intrigue. This doesn't feel random anymore, Nick muttered, his voice gravelly from too many late nights and too little sleep. He placed his coffee mug down and spread out the photos on the table. Look at this. The fire and the corporate scandal, they're connected. The missing person, it's not just coincidence. It's like someone's orchestrating this. Chance rubbed his chin thoughtfully. You think it's all one person? Nick nodded. Not just one person, one mind. Someone who's 3 steps ahead of us, someone who knows how to cover their tracks. The detectives didn't know it yet, but they were closer than they realized. The evidence they had started to uncover, burnt ledgers, encrypted emails, and a trail of shell companies, all pointed to Claire. Yet, Claire's brilliance lay not just in the execution of her plans but in her ability to deflect attention. She had left just enough breadcrumbs to implicate someone else, someone she had chosen as her scapegoat. Back in her small apartment, Claire double-checked the emails she'd sent from an untraceable account. She had posed as an insider whistleblower, leaking documents that would send investigators on a wild goose chase. Her aim was to keep Nick and Chance tangled in red herrings long enough for her real endgame to unfold. She glanced at the clock. It was almost time for her to make the next move. Claire's phone buzzed. It was a notification from the anonymous forum where she had planted her latest piece of bait. The post she had written, under a pseudonym, of course, was already gaining traction. People were sharing it, speculating wildly about the implications. Everything was going according to plan. Meanwhile, Nick and Chance were poring over their latest find, a series of coded messages embedded in financial transactions. Chance leaned back in his chair, exhaling sharply. This is bigger than I thought, he admitted. Bigger and smarter, Nick agreed. But whoever this is, they've made one mistake. Chance raised an eyebrow. What mistake? Nick smirked, tapping the side of his head. They underestimated us. As the night wore on, both sides, Claire on one and Nick and Chance on the other, continued their respective missions. Claire moved her pawns with precision, while Nick and Chance worked tirelessly to piece together the fragmented puzzle. But the closer the detectives got to the truth, the more dangerous the game became. In a dramatic twist, Nick stumbled upon a vital piece of evidence, a hidden cache of files on a flash drive recovered from the wreckage of the warehouse fire. The files contained detailed plans for the crimes they had been investigating, along with one name that stood out, Claire. Yet, the files also implicated another individual, a rival of Claire's who she had skillfully framed. As Nick and Chance unraveled the layers of deception, Claire found herself facing an unexpected challenge. Someone from her past, someone who knew her too well, had begun to suspect her involvement. This person, a former ally turned adversary, had the power to expose Claire's twisted game. But Claire was nothing if not adaptable. She swiftly altered her plans, setting a trap for her new opponent. The climax of the story came when Nick and Chance closed in on Claire, armed with enough evidence to confront her. However, as they prepared to make their move, Claire executed one final gambit that left everyone reeling. She disappeared, leaving behind a trail of destruction and a single message for the detectives: you were good, but not good enough. The game isn't over. Nick and Chance were left staring at the note, a mix of frustration and admiration on their faces. They had underestimated Claire's resourcefulness, but they were more determined than ever to bring her to justice. The game, as Claire had promised, was far from over.